Hi, you're watching GibdeSpeak, and I am the Gibde. Well, it's time for the inaugurational, I think that's a word, I hope it's a word, otherwise I'm going to feel very silly, video for my new type of video that I'll be making, which means, of course, my reviews on fanfictions and everything, like actual critical reviews, not just me going, oh my god! How could they do this to the canon and la 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 la? Because I want to take a break from that and look at some of these fanfictions with a more critical eye. Anyways, so intro time. I am a Tobuscus fan. I really like his videos. My boyfriend introduced me to his videos, his Happy Wheels series, and I really enjoyed it. And so I was watching his videos one day and I thought to myself, I wonder if Tobuscus has fanfiction. I mean, I've been told that if it's on the internet, it probably has fanfiction, and heck, I've seen fanfiction about real people. There's a lot of monkeys and beetles fanfiction that I've seen. A lot of the monkeys fanfiction is stuff that I've written. On fanfiction.net anyways, I've been told that I write really good fanfiction. Which of course I will have you judge someday. But so I look it up on fanfiction.net, I type in Tobuscus, and boom, all of this fanfiction. Now, some of it was atrocious. Some of it was so horrible. It was just horrible. I was like, oh my god, this is awful. Some of it was actually really good, and I got really into it. I'll probably review the one that I'm talking about later on. But some of it was kind of mediocre. It was alright, but it wasn't amazing. It didn't strike me as like, oh my god, this is great. This was not what I was expecting at all. I call them kind of C fanfictions because I grade them a C for could be better. But this is one such. It's a C for it had the possibility of being a B. This story is called Roomies by XX Unwritten XX on fanfiction.net. The synopsis reads as such. Olivia and her friend Kara moved to California hoping to get noticed and meet some of their favorite YouTube personalities, but Olivia gets more than she bargained for. Tobuscus/OC, rated T for mild language. Okay. I like this story. I do like it. It's actually one of the better ones. It wasn't one of the best ones, but it was one of the better ones. It got a B for spelling and grammar, and the only reason it didn't get an A was because of this first paragraph. The first paragraph looks like this. But it should look like this. As you can see, this author had a bit of a hard time with paragraphs between people talking. That's a big pet peeve of mine, and that is why this story didn't get an A in grammar and spelling. I don't think that there are any horrible spelling errors, or at least none of them jumped out at me, and I'm pretty good at catching bad spelling. Unless it's my own, in which case I suck. But, so it got a B in grammar and spelling, which is really good considering my immortal standards. But this story, there are two parts that I'm going to be grading, just letting you know, on each story. There's grammar and spelling, and then there's content. And the content is split up into categories of plot and character. So, in plot, what happens in this story is Olivia and her friend Kara go to live in LA. Olivia, nicknamed Ollie, is Toby's new roommate after Olga K broke up with him. Okay. You'd think that this would work out fairly well. No, the problem that I have with this plot point is that Ollie moves in with Toby about 5 to 10 minutes after he and Olga break up. I don't even think that's enough time for there to be paperwork filled out that she's not a roommate anymore, she's not paying room and board. Another problem that I have with this is that this author doesn't take the time to establish a friendly relationship between Toby and Ollie. They pretty much sparks fly when their hands just happen to touch when they touch Assassin's Creed at the same time, when they're looking for it. That's one problem that I have with the plot. it's just, the romance blooms too fast. I mean, it's literally been 10 minutes after Toby and Olga broke up. Breakups don't work that way. Let's see. Also, a problem that I have with the plot is that they eventually, Kara and Ollie, who are obviously self-inserts in the story of the author and her best friend, you can tell because the best friend plays little to no role but has a romantic interest. They end up meeting Smosh, and Anthony starts hitting on Ollie. Naturally, Toby is distraught. And what ends up happening is that they confess that they like each other, or at least they kiss when they're on their way home. However, Toby, in this story, decides that it would be a great idea to let go of the steering wheel while they're driving down the highway to kiss this girl. They swerve off into a ditch, and Toby is seriously hurt. They go to the hospital. Ollie starts basically fighting with herself on whether she likes Anthony or Toby, or even if she likes Ian, who is Kara's boy in this story. So that's kind of screwed up. But she really quickly discards the thought of Ian, which, yeah, that shouldn't have been brought up in the first place. Anyway, she ends up having a dream that she's, quote-unquote, Ollie in Wonderland, and that Toby is the Mad Hatter / White Rabbit. They end up confessing their feelings for each other, and she wakes up to Anthony shaking her. She goes in, and turns out Toby had the same dream, and they confess their feelings for each other, and they end up together. And Anthony finds a girl in the middle of the hospital, and for some reason falls for her instantly. I guess there's another Mary Sue from another story wandering around at this point. And pretty much that's what happens in this story. So, for overall plot, while it does have an interesting little plot, and there are cute little scenes between her and Toby, I'd have to give it a C for could be better. Because of just, it goes way too fast. There are only 8 chapters in this story for all of this stuff to happen. I personally really like longer stories because they keep my attention for a longer period of time, and they make it more realistic. Also, and now we move on to character. Ollie is a Mary Sue. Plain and simple. She is pretty much perfect. She doesn't really have a problem aside from the fact that she's indecisive between which guys she wants to date. But the reason that she's indecisive is because all the boys are in love with her. Except Ian, who's in love with Kara, which never gets explained. But yeah, so she's just a Mary Sue. And I don't like Mary Sues. So, unfortunately, I would have to say, for character, she gets a D for Do It Again, because she needs to rewrite this character and not make it a Mary Sue. She needs to give this character flaws. She needs to not make this character so perfect. She shouldn't make this character so bad that she's unlikable, because I have read a fanfiction where the main character is just unlikable. And that's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum from a Mary Sue. That's like an author hearing about what a Mary Sue is, and with such determination not to write it, she ends up making her audience hate her main character. Don't do that. For all you aspiring authors out there, don't do either of that. Don't make your character too likable, don't make them too unlikable. Find a happy medium. So that's why, for character, she gets a D. Now, overall, the whole story, so she gets a B in grammar and spelling, a C for plot, and a D for character. So I would say that comes to a pretty middle-of-the-road C, for could be better. I would definitely say read this fanfiction. I do think it's really cute, and I do think it's a decent story. It just could be better, hence the C. So yeah, go read Roomies by XX Unwritten XX on fanfiction.net. Support Tobuscus, because he's awesome. And until next time, you've been watching GibdeSpeak. I have been the Gibde. Sayonara, suckers.